Hey, Foot Clan. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at SleeperBot. Now, you know it's our job to equip you to have the absolute best tools for your fantasy football team, and SleeperBot is just that. It is a free app on iOS and Android. Do not miss out on this app. They have the fastest alerts in the business, and information that equals wins in your fantasy football league. So check out the SleeperBot app on iOS and Android today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
That's us.
That is us. We are the Fantasy Footballers. Welcome to the show, everybody.
We're back again.
With your hosts, Jason Moore, Mike Wright, and Cal Ripken Jr.
It was 50-50 today, gentlemen. I have a lot of medicine in my system right now.
We're passing it around.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't say anything just nonsensical like I did at like 3 in the morning.
You want this to be the first time?
Oh, very funny.
Thank you.
It doesn't help that today is also our League of Record draft day.
Oh, it sure does.
I had one of those delusional fevered nights where you contemplate the mortality of life and shiver and shake.
And you have no idea what's going on.
No idea whatsoever. I do know that I messaged you guys at 3 in the morning.
With a dancing robot.
With a dancing robot. So that tells you about how I'm doing today. Andy Holloway here with Mike and Jason. We have real NFL football on the docket for Thursday and for this weekend. My wife didn't do me any favors. She kept asking what time the games were on this past Sunday, which just kept reminding me that there are no games on.
Oh.
Not yet, but we're almost there. We've got a good show today. We have a ton of news and notes to get into. We have our rising stars on the show today. Have a great quick question. You guys have anything going on?
Just a League of Record draft day as the champ feels good.
Yeah, how you so you bring in the trophy?
I'm not going to bring the little box without the guy on top.
Yeah,
but I am going to bring my
turned
championship.
our trophy into a wooden block.
Yeah, I'm going to bring my championship belt though, and my championship ring.
Where's the actual championship belt?
The actual, you know what? Let me say something about that for everyone listening out there. If you or someone you know broke into my car and stole the championship belt, you are a terrible person.
That was part of the bounty?
Yes.
It was
in my trunk.
It was in his trunk.
My car was robbed a week or so ago.
You know
I
what
didn't
that's
think
called?
anything in there really mattered other than my keys.
What's that called, Mike?
That's called fantasy karma for breaking the trophy.
That's fine. Thankfully, I've got another belt, so it's okay.
He's taking yours.
This is hogwash.
I know. It's draft day is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, quick question of the day. This one comes in off of Twitter at FalkPace99. So this guy is living in the St. Louis past here. What is a way to stop people from abusing the veto system on trades? Last year, my league abused it, and that made most trades impossible.
Man,
that's the worst.
That's trying to change an entire culture of a league. That's going to be extremely difficult. I can tell you how our league functions. Basically, all trades go through. I mean, they really do not get vetoed. I can remember one or two happening, and that was just after it went through. People started to cause a ruckus. There's no voting period. We actually have turned on instant trades,
which is great.
It's fantastic. There's no that waiting period of, well, can I make this trade because this player is going to be locked in game time, so we're going to have to wait. We can't do this trade. I need that guy to play right now. So the instant trades is fantastic, but changing an entire culture, that's going to be up to your commissioner, turning that garbage off and saying, I'm going to be in control. If there's enough fuss, then maybe we'll talk about it.
Well, let me just ask it this way. What is the purpose of a veto?
Yeah, the purpose of a veto is to stop collusion. And in fact, I think we can help here because we've got a lot of listeners. Thank you, listeners.
You need a soapbox?
I need a soapbox.
Here you go.
And we're gonna have our man Brooks cut this up and post this out so you could share this for your league. Okay, here is the public service announcement. Public service announcement. The veto for trades is not to say someone won the trade too hard. Okay? Stop vetoing. Every trade that Mike makes and every trade that Andy makes, I want to veto because you guys always win them. And I don't like that. But I never actually veto them because that's Bush League. That's stupid. That's not what the veto is for. The veto is to stop you guys from going together behind your back and going, well, I'm already out of the playoffs and I want to go, so let's collude and try to win a championship. The veto is for collusion. If there's nothing going on bad behind the scenes, if someone's not getting completely taken advantage of, like, this guy didn't know that his kneecap just got ruptured and I just traded for Teddy Bridgewater. No, veto that nonsense.
Yes.
Everything else, look, just make your own great trades.
If you use the veto as a fairness method, that's not the way it should be used because these trades will surprise you so often. I remember a couple years ago, people wanted to veto a Justin Forsett for Khiry Robinson because they thought the Khiry Robinson guy dominated the trade, and Forsett went on to
be a running back one.
To be a running back one. I mean, you just don't know how it's going to shake out. So let people make their mistakes. Let them manage their teams. And then if it goes beyond that point of reasonableness to collusion or taking advantage of something like you said with the injuries, then you can have a discussion. But if you avoid, this majority veto on every trade just because you don't like it, you're going to have a more fun league. You're going to be able to take off things like the veto 2-day window crap, and then you can do a trade on Saturday night.
There's only one veto that I like, and that is DeVito, as in Danny DeVito.
Yeah, the very strong point, Mike. What is this birthday note?
There is a big birthday today that I learned on the drive into the studio. An actor who we are very fond of was born today. Michael Keaton.
I love Michael Keaton.
Oh, my goodness. Michael Keaton's birthday is today?
It is. Batman.
Wow. What are we going to do to celebrate?
We're going to draft.
We're going to have
Are we
a
going to
draft.
dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
That's right.
And we're going to make an I Love Michael Keaton t-shirt is what we're going to do.
We need to make an I Love. Yeah, okay, this is happening.
Yeah, go ahead and begin stitching right now. We're going to jump into the news. A lot of exciting stuff taking place. Before we do that, I want to remind everybody about jointhefoot.com, our fantasy football community, where you get an extra episode of the show every single week, and we've got a giveaway we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, the giveaway is tomorrow. And you can follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. We're on YouTube, the Fantasy Sports Network, and the website is thefantasyfootballers.com. We would love it if you came and you connected with us on social media and on the website. This show exists for you. So head over to thefantasyfootballers.com, submit a question to the show, and we'll help you win a title this year.
Have we said Happy Labor Day?
Oh, we have not.
Happy Labor Day, everybody. Enjoy your day off, you jerks.
Yeah, Andy's sick on Labor Day coming into work.
That's right. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Now, speaking of a trade in a fantasy league that would have been vetoed immediately.
Oh, man.
We're talking real-life trades here, but the other teams aren't whining and complaining about it.
Is this the Sam Bradford trade?
Sammy Biscuits just keeps getting thrown around for first-round picks. It wasn't a first last time, but
he's the most interesting man in the world. He gets paid so much money, plays for a variety of teams. Everybody kind of thinks of him as above average, I think.
Look, I'm not like a supreme college expert, but he must have been darn good at Oklahoma because he is living on that college.
He was the last player to get those big-time contracts, too, rookie-wise. So the Vikings acquired Sam Bradford from the Eagles in exchange for a 2017 first-round pick and a conditional fourth-round pick. This is an amazing trade for the Eagles.
Yeah, because the first wasn't enough.
They basically traded up for Carson Wentz and now don't lose anything by trading Bradford away. So at the same time, it makes you wonder if Teddy Bridgewater's prognosis to come back in 2017
it's got to be bad.
It's not going to be a guarantee. You bring Bradford in because you have a team kind of built to win now, and you need somebody to stabilize the offense, unlike Shaun Hill.
Well, Teddy Bridgewater, let's say he's not back next year. Look, a torn ACL, a dislocated knee. What if Teddy Bridgewater never really comes back? Minnesota had to make a move. Like Andy said, they have a team with a defense that is built right now. You have Adrian Peterson, Hall of Fame Adrian Peterson left for just a couple years. I mean, you got to in football, if you have a chance to win, you take it. You try to win. So I don't
Clearly,
really
it's
like
hard
Bradford.
to give up. It's hard to give up that much value for him, but at least it's justifiable when you're trying to go after your window.
let's talk about the fantasy implications of, Bridgewater went out, everybody freaked out, Stefon Diggs, those guys. Now you have Bradford coming in to the offense. Might not even start week 1. I think Shaun Hill's going to start week 1.
Probably.
Late to the party to learn the playbook and stuff for Bradford. So what is how do you view Diggs, Treadwell, AP, Rudolph? I mean, let's talk about it both ways, right? Because the Eagles lose Bradford, which impacts Ertz, which impacts that offense. How do you look at this from both sides? Maybe one of you guys could take the Eagles. One of you guys can take the Vikings.
Who you want, Mike?
I'll do the Eagles.
All right. I'll start with the Vikings. I think this is really good news for a lot of the Vikings players. If you look at Teddy Bridgewater versus Sammy Biscuits, you've got a guy they're actually decently similar in most metrics, but the one thing that Sammy has been better at is his touchdown rate. And obviously that's great for fantasy. It's also probably better, I think, for Kyle Rudolph with a new guy coming to the system. It's not a rookie, right? Sammy Bradford knows how to play in the NFL, knows those things, but can still rely on a tight end guy down, the big target. Kyle Rudolph is talented. He's the guy I think that I bumped up the most, but that was just like I gave him one more touchdown.
I feel like Kyle Rudolph each year has one different reason for us to think he will be good. There's a different offensive coordinator, so we're going to like Kyle Rudolph this year. Now we've got Sammy Biscuits.
Well, I moved him way up to
did?
Yeah, to like 18 or something.
Okay.
I mean,
All
so
right.
when I say I moved him up, it's not one of those, crazy go trade for Kyle Rudolph. I just think he might be a little bit more relevant. I think this is really good news for Adrian Peterson as well. I know that Adrian Peterson has had incredible fantasy years with, you name it at quarterback.
Ponder.
Christian Ponder. He's just had a laundry
Tavares.
list. Yeah.
Remember Tavares Jackson?
And he's fine. So, but even still, it's easier to run on fewer guys in the box than more guys in the box. So, for the most part, I don't think it changes much because their game script is hand the ball off and throw safe passes. I think they're going to pretty much be how they were pre-Teddy's injury.
So, Mike, the Eagles, talk about Ryan Mathews.
Yeah, that's the biggest one is how does this affect Ryan Mathews?
Because with this comes Carson Wentz has been named the starter. I
Correct.
should say that. Today he was named the starter.
Yeah, that was made official, which was strange since we don't – there was the reports of him having broken ribs. You would have to think that the ribs are fine if you're going to throw a rookie out there. But for Ryan Mathews – there's the two sides. Some people think, huge bump, Ryan Mathews, because he's going to get the ball a ton. And then you have just the overall offense is worse. So I've actually kind of fused those things. I'm not really adjusting him because I think that he does get an increased volume, yet the defenses will be more keyed in on stopping the run. I think Philadelphia has an underrated offensive line, so Ryan Mathews will still be able to get it done. There's a report surfacing now that Lane Johnson might play week 1.
Wow.
Because they think that he can play during the appeal. So that's a situation to monitor.
But a big deal for the running game.
Yes. Yeah, it's a big deal for that offensive line as a whole. I think what really stinks here, Jordan Mathews. Jordan Mathews has had almost no time to play with Carson Wentz and get used to build that chemistry between a rookie quarterback because Jordan Mathews has been injured. And now there was already questions about his playing time. He's a slot guy. Will he move to the outside? We know that he is a talented wide receiver. He's probably the best wide receiver on the team. But what do you do with him? I've already found myself in drafts staring down that Jordan Mathews as my highest rated wide receiver. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I know. It's true. It's kind of a tough situation. That team is going to experience some growing pains this year, in my opinion. So we'll see what comes of that. Big news this weekend. Kind of shocked a lot of people. Jason, you tweeted about it last night. Justin Forsett, he was cut.
Yep. You got to start at the beginning with
the
this
most surprising cut by far this season was Justin Forsett.
And now he's been signed by the Ravens.
He's uncut.
He's been uncut. I will say this, though. I mean, you don't generally do this maneuver with the stalwart of your backfield. Obviously they were trying to save some money with Justin Forsett and bring him right back. Obviously it was done in a mutual way because Forsett came back and signed. It wasn't like a big deal, but it was one of those things to save the team some money. To me, this just means Justin Forsett is obviously not part of the long-term plans in that backfield. He's going to be back. He's going to have a role.
Yeah, I mean, I that's kind of what I was saying last week on the show, was that Justin Forsett's not a guy that's going to be great at the end of the year, but I do think he gets off to a great start. I know there's a lot of buzz about Terrance West this offseason, and yeah, he's looked pretty good, but I do think Justin Forsett will get the first crack, and he has still been pretty good over the last 2 seasons from an NFL standpoint and from a fantasy standpoint. So I like Justin Forsett. I told people last night, I tweeted out, because the rumblings were larger and larger that he was going to re-sign. I said, look, if you're drafting last night, draft him late. Or if he's on your waivers, go pick him up, because you're essentially getting a guy who was going in the 8th for a 15th, 16th round cost, and now he's still the exact same guy. It's just amazing to see when he was cut, like, everybody's off the Justin Forsett train now. Like, he can't do anything. I disagree with that. I think he's going to start the year strong, but he's got a really good rookie there that is primed for a role in the future.
It seemed like for a brief moment we were going to have a little bit of help from the Ravens in clarifying some of the fantasy situation there. I was really excited about Buck Allen, right? I mean, if you're in that situation with that offense, Justin Forsett's not involved, and it's Terrance West and Buck Allen. Buck Allen was going to rise up my list a lot. I mean, we like guys like Woodhead, and we like Duke Johnson, and we like Gio. I mean, Buck Allen was going to have, probably still will have a very large involvement in that offense, but nobody can see how it's going to shake out because you've got 3, and then after 4 weeks, 4 guys in the backfield, a plethora of wide receiver options. So we just have to let it shake out. I'm glad you were recommending people to sign Justin Forsett yesterday, because he will.
Hit the breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news.
There was a tweet from Justin Forsett 20 minutes ago that says, "When I make a move, I'll let you know. #stay tuned."
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Wait, is he
That
not
means
signed?
That would probably mean that he is not signed. There was the report that they've agreed on a contract.
Wow.
Oh, come on. Right now?
I'm telling you.
While talking about it.
I'm telling you what
Forsett.
what I have vetted from Justin Forsett's official Twitter account. I would expect him to re-sign with the Ravens. I don't think he has much of an option right now.
We'll see by the end of the show there's an official.
This is a freaking disaster.
Wow.
This is a fantasy disaster.
All right, so real quick, in 30 seconds or less, we've kind of covered that he re-signs. Now let's say, okay, he doesn't re-sign, because we can't know this by the time we finish recording. If he doesn't re-sign, Andy, you said you're going after Buck Allen. Is that right? I mean,
yes.
Of the 3?
Yeah, well, and Kenneth Dixon.
Sure, Kenneth Dixon looks great.
In the
if
long
you've
term,
got an IR.
This was Jason Laquon reporting that the deal will become official right before Tuesday's practice.
Right, yes.
So this is considered a re-signing already. So now you're saying we don't know because of this tweet.
I'm telling you what Justin Forsett has said.
I think he's going to resign. I expect that to happen. I think that the cut was always with the intention of
I had some clown music for their backfield.
Before he had tweeted that, Justin Forsett said, "I'm learning so much on Twitter, LOL." Like, as in he was probably learning of his re-signing.
Well, okay. Well,
this is a disaster.
Let's pay attention to this during the entirety of the show. All right, Matt Jones returned to practice Monday wearing a non-contact jersey. We know he had the sprained AC joint. We know he's in line to be the starting running back of a potentially good offense.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good offense.
If you're a Matt Jones owner, do you have to have Robert Kelley?
Yes. I don't think necessarily have to. If you've got, if you're loaded.
I think
yes.
I've proven you do not have to.
Yes.
Based on me allowing Mike to snipe him in both our leagues.
My point is this. When we say yes, and my answer in general is yes, sometimes people with really stacked running back rosters who have guys that you don't want to cut for Rob Kelley go, okay, who should I cut? Should I be cutting Danny Woodhead now to pick up Rob Kelley? No. But if you've got, kind of some empty, crappy players, some flyers at the end of your bench, yeah, cut them for Rob Kelley, because in week 1, Matt Jones might not be starting. And if he's not starting, then Rob Kelley is. It's plain and simple.
It's a shoulder injury for a running back. There is a good chance that he will try to use his shoulder to knock people over while he's playing. Just a situation to monitor.
Thomas Rawls is expected to start the season as the starting running back for the Seahawks. We were talking before the show just about the numbers he put up last year, how impressive they were. The expectation that he comes back into that form very early in the season is what?
For me, it's very, very high. I do not believe in the awakening of Christine Michael. And I think that what you're going to see week 1 is, 15 carries for Rawls, 7 carries for Christine Michael. And that's no different than what you see for Doug Martin and Charles Sims. That's a guy getting it done. There are some, look, if Thomas Rawls is back and healthy, and from what we understand from camp is that he's been going full speed for a couple weeks now. He's taking everything first-team rep in practice for this week. He's ready to go. He played a little bit in the last preseason game. I don't think there's any reason to think at this point. It wasn't an injury where it's like, oh, you're going to re-injure this. It's like once you're healthy, you're good to go. So I don't see why they would not use him as the starter, considering what he did in his rookie year, which was – some of the stats out there, they're just mind-blowing. Scott Barrett was finding some great nuggets. Things like the fact that he led all running backs last year in yards per carry. And if you took away his top 3 runs, one of which was like 69 yards, he still would have led in yards per carry. And also for all running backs who have more than 100 carries since like 1962 as a rookie, he was the second highest in yards per carry, square between Maurice Jones-Drew and Adrian Peterson. Look, he's really good.
That's a good sandwich.
Jamaal Charles or Thomas Rawls today?
Thomas Rawls.
Charles.
Okay.
I'll still take Charles.
Hey, we need to press the pause button real quick. Thank the sponsors of this show that keep the lights on, that keep us doing what we're doing here at the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. So I do want to take a second and thank SleeperBot. Look, SleeperBot is in the toolbox for all the Foot Clan members out there. It is a free app. They are the fastest when it comes to delivering alerts on what's going on. You would have known about the Justin Forsett situation right away. And knowing things early means you can make a move in your league, go to your waiver wire, make trades, do things like that help you win. And so just download the SleeperBot app on iOS or Android. They have some very cool features they add every single week as well. Right now they have player profiles in there with advanced stats. They have rankings in there. They have real-time trending players and live stats and contextual depth charts. And they have people talking fantasy football 24/7. So definitely check out the SleeperBot app. It's one of our favorite tools each and every year. We let you know about it last year, and we're letting you know about it again this year.
And people love it. Everybody that tries it out is very happy. They're always saying, thanks for the SleeperBot tip.
Yeah, and it helps you dominate your league, and that's what we want you to do is win. So check out the SleeperBot app on iOS or Android. And there's also, when you sign up, Foot Clan users can use the promo code FootClan, and you get a premium content credit. So
cool.
There you go.
We want to thank Thursday Boot Company. Look, fellas.
Kia!
Winter is coming. You know what you need when winter is here? You need a good pair of boots. All 3 of us. We took a look at Thursday Boot Company. We said, we got to get us some of those. So we got some boots in the mail. And you know why you need to use Thursday Boot Company? Because they use the best Tier 1 Grade A USA leather. They have a gold standard, a Goodyear welt construction. There's a glove leather lining. Do your boots have a glove leather lining?
Mine do now.
Yeah, mine are about to. And the thing about Thursday Boot Company, look, they're built for guys who understand quality and want a good-looking pair of boots that will last a few seasons. With the sophistication of a fashion boot and durability of a work boot that you could kick some serious booty in. They're clean. You can wear them with work pants. You can wear them with your jeans. You wear them out on the town. Thursday Boot Company's got you covered for all situations. And look, Thursday Boot Company doesn't have any sales or discount codes because they are really committed to honest pricing, with prices starting at $149, including free shipping and returns. Thursday boots are the best by the season, and they're clean. Timeless design and durability. Thursday boots will keep you standing confident for years to come. To see the selection, head over to ThursdayBoots.com/footballers. That is ThursdayBoots.com/footballers.
All right, let's get back into the news here. We're going to get into our rising stars as well very soon. Look, let's talk about Khiry Robinson. So Khiry Robinson re-injured his leg. He is now on IR, and he's been waived. So originally when we talked about Matt Forte all offseason, it's been the Bilal Powell, Khiry Robinson, Matt Forte, trifecta in New York. All of a sudden it looks like Matt Forte may have no competition on the goal line. It changes his outlook to me.
It's definitely interesting. I know that we've talked about the stats of Matt Forte is historically one of the worst goal line backs, but who's taking it now? Is it Bilal
It's
Powell?
not Bilal Powell.
I think that Bilal Powell will get 50% or 45% as much work as Forte. I don't think it's just going to be Forte always. I think whoever's in the game at that moment, they might switch it up.
Not at the goal line though.
Yeah, that's exclusively what I was talking about. Is at the goal line. I don't think it's just going to be the Forte show. Because if he's not getting it done, and we know he hasn't, Bilal Powell has been successful down inside the 5. So I'm just saying, I never expected Khiry Robinson to be the reason why Forte's value is gone. I get it. Now
I think Forte's value is rising. I like Forte's value.
Okay.
I like it slightly more, but I also like Bilal Powell more now.
Okay. Well, there you go. So
Well,
Khiry Robinson's been released. I mean, I if it's a two-man show there, which it was last year with Ivory and Powell, I don't know. Ivory had a very, very good season. I think they signed Forte to come in there and do something, and it changes the outlook.
All right, let me ask you a couple of guys here in case people are drafting today. We are drafting today. Forte or Jeremy Hill?
I guess Jeremy Hill.
Forte or DeMarco Murray?
I'll take Murray.
Forte or Jeremy Langford?
I'll take Forte in that situation.
Okay, and Forte or Melvin Gordon?
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean,
There we go.
I just think the upside is there for Forte. That's all I mean.
Sure.
It feels less capped than it did before.
It seems like based on your answers, where Forte is just going, his average draft position is exactly where you would take him right now. So you're not super high on him, but you're no longer super low on him.
Well, and that was when I talked about Forte in our bus show. Look, I mentioned Forte is going to be fine for fantasy. I just didn't like where he's being drafted. Oh, I don't like him in that group of guys. I like the other ones better.
Yeah, that makes sense. You took him in one of your leagues.
I did.
All right. The Cowboys plan to keep Tony Romo on the active roster in case he comes back sooner.
They do. So if they IR'd him, he would not be eligible until week 9. But this way, if he happens to be ready, look, the prognosis for the broken disc is I guess a 4 to 10 week window, is giving you that cable guy window. So they're thinking and hoping that Tony Romo can be back in 4. I find that highly doubtful.
Let's get him back as early as possible for as few as possible games then. That's what I feel like this is. Like, let's rush him to get back in week 6 so he can play week 6 and 7, get re-injured. Like, that's just silly to me. Let the guy rest.
Grab Tony Romo and throw him on your IR.
Yes.
If you
if you've really punted your quarterbacks, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying he's going to be eligible for your IR, and if you don't have anybody in there, you can throw him in there. I'm not excited about him. Virgil Green is officially listed as the Broncos starting tight end. What do you think about Virgil Green, Mike?
I love him.
Upside?
I think there is tremendous upside. We've seen it in the preseason. We've seen the targets are going his way. He is an absolute athletic freak. I have taken a super punt. I will call it a super punt on the tight end position in several of my drafts, taking tight end as literally my last pick. As in, I've taken my defense, and then I'm taking my tight end, and I'm grabbing Virgil Green.
All right. I'm curious to see what he does there. Mark Sanchez went to Dallas, holding the clipboard in Dallas now. The 49ers, Chip Kelley, Carlos Hyde is still in concussion protocol.
Yeah, look, he's expected to be ready for week 1. However, if you are in a running back quandary, let's say you took Le'Veon Bell and maybe Charles. Like, you're in this situation of, oh, crap, I'm looking at week 1, I have nobody. If Carlos Hyde does not play,
Shaun Draughn.
and the big salad
himself.
and the big salad is sitting just in that refrigeration, keeping fresh on your waiver wire, you toss him in week 1.
I see that. You toss him in. I like that.
So Shaun Draughn, a potential week 1 guy.
Very potential. I know the matchup is not great, but Shaun Draughn
It's always nice to have
a pass catcher.
To be able to grab a starting running back for free. You know, if you're in the Lev Bell situation, like you said, or Charles.
And that's why he's the big salad, because, look, people don't want to eat salad.
No.
And you don't want to start Shaun Draughn, but he's going to be just fine for you if he's the starter.
Yeah. All right. Andre Williams was waived by the Giants. Orleans Darkwa is now the number 2 there, behind a somewhat injury-prone Rashad Jennings.
Somewhat.
So pay attention. Signed by the Chargers after the Chargers lost Brandon Oliver. Andre Williams comes in there and is useless.
But now aren't you off Melvin Gordon now that they signed Andre Williams? You said he looked good this preseason, Andy.
No. I mean, this is just a depth move. That's all it is. Andre Williams is useless. Broncos, speaking of useless, Broncos released Ronnie Hillman.
Justice for C.J. Anderson.
How about Devontae Booker? What's the prognosis for Mr. Booker?
He's the number 2 guy right now.
Could he overtake C.J. Anderson?
No. I don't think there's a world where he overtakes C.J. Anderson. He'll get some work. I think that C.J. Anderson, though, will be the workhorse guy. Anderson's a great pass protector, great pass catcher. However, if Anderson were to go down and he has shown some fragility, Devontae Booker would be him good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying if you've got C.J. Anderson, you're going to actively make sure you have Devontae
No,
Booker?
I'm not saying I'm actively making sure I have him. I'm saying that if Anderson goes down, and if you want to have that insurance policy, Booker is very strong, I think.
All right. Last couple bits of news. Dennis Pitta has been cleared for week 1.
The one-hip quitter is back.
Oh,
Wow.
goodness.
He's back.
So does it mean anything?
Stay healthy, Dennis.
Yeah.
Just get out on the field.
He needs to go bubble boy.
Yes.
They need to put Dennis in one of those big old bubbles.
There's some guys that I just feel bad for over the years. Dennis Pitta might be at the top of that list. I just feel like he cannot stay healthy. His career has been like almost over because of injury 7 times.
Yeah, you don't want to see him get hurt again. That's for sure.
The news to me is if Pitta is healthy, he could establish himself as the tight end 1 for that team. I think that he's the most talented guy on the roster right now.
Ben Watson's obviously down for the season.
Yeah, Betty Crockett, I think Pitta's better. Max Williams, I think Pitta is better.
It's hard to know what Pitta is
Right,
anymore.
that's the problem.
Oh, sure, yeah. Very, very fair.
But perfectly in line with how you would treat anybody on the Ravens right now, which is you don't know any of their 10 tight ends, 10 running backs, or 10 wide receivers. Josh Doxson's practicing on Monday, was dealing with Achilles tendonitis. Saw him run some routes. He looked good. I don't know how involved he'll be. He's somebody to me that you need to pay attention to towards the back half of the season. From a production standpoint, he could surprise. Obviously, if Kirk Cousins gets it going this year, Doxson could pass Pierre Garçon in snaps and production, but it would take he would have to step up.
Early in the offseason, Josh Doxson was, I think, the 3rd highest drafted rookie wide receiver because of his talent. Obviously, he's great coming out of college. Right now, he is completely average draft position. You want to know where Josh Doxson's going? He's undrafted. Yeah. So he's on your waivers. If you've got a deep bench, he's worth a look.
And if you, for whatever reason, you're in your dynasty, a owner has soured on him. Look, these things happen. That buy low window is closing, and I would personally make a move for him. I've rostered him wherever I could.
Jordy Nelson, full go at practice.
Yep. My coach Mike McCarthy says they expect Jordy to be full go week 1.
That's exciting.
That's a key yaw right there.
That is
Whew. I mean, that's going to make come on, Jordy. Bring the Packers back.
I guess it'd be good for the league, huh? All right, let's go ahead and get into the Raising Cane's Rising Stars.
Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week.
All right, Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week. Mike, who's your rising star this week?
Well, I kind of talked him up already, but that's Virgil Green. It was that drum beat. Matt Harmon always talks about the drum beat rising throughout training camp, and that's what Virgil Green was doing. But we had heard that a little bit before with Green, and it faltered off. They fell out of tempo in the drum line. This year, though, everything has lined up for Green. The people behind him cannot stay healthy, and he's named the starter. He's the guy. Kubiak says, "Hey, Virgil Green, you're my man. With Simeon as the quarterback, I expect the targets to be very reliable and very solid for Virgil Green, who, as I said, athletically gifted. If he gets in space, he's one of the tight ends in the league that actually can do something if he's in space." And so I'm rising on him. Like I said, I'm drafting him in a lot of my leagues.
All right, Jason.
All right, the guy that is rising up my boards, he already had been rising, right? I think I've talked about him not as I don't believe he was already a Raising Cane's rising star, but I've talked up Jeremy Langford recently as a guy that looks good in the preseason, has shown that he is going to be kind of their guy to start. I mean, I know Khiry will get a little bit of work, and others will.
Jacquizz got cut too.
Right, and so, Jordan Howard, rookie. So Jeremy Langford's been looking good. But now, over the weekend, the Bears signed the offensive guard Josh Sitton, formerly of the Packers. He's a Pro Bowl, highly ranked run-blocking guard. And that's going to, look, those things really help the running backs when there are bigger holes to run through. So Jeremy, it's very simple, but we don't always follow offensive lines, right? Because you don't know the names. It's not as fun. You don't watch them as closely when you watch football. You watch the skill position players. And so that's why we're letting you know. Josh Sitton signed. Go get Jeremy Langford. I like him. And it's funny because I posted the question to you.
Him today.
I posted the question to you earlier, Forte or Langford, right? Langford being Forte's replacement for the Bears. They are going back-to-back in average draft positions.
Ooh.
And I love that. I feel like there's this personal animosity rivalry between.
That they know nothing about.
Exactly. I am taking Langford in that. You took Forte. Any temptation for a water bet there, Andy?
No, not
medicine.
at all.
Medicine madness.
No, you don't take advantage of me with all these drugs in my system.
But
How dare you?
I like Langford. He's delicious.
All right, we've got maybe an unexpected rising star. Maybe it's because I'm medicated at the moment, but I'm going to go with Kenneth Dixon. How is an injured running back?
But Andy,
yeah,
he's hurt.
He is hurt. But look, when you release Forsett, even if you're going to re-sign him, which, by the way, we thought was a done deal with Laquon for, you can go look that up. I think it'll happen.
I'll do another bet.
I think it's still going to happen. But it shows me that they do believe in Kenneth Dixon. I think Dixon is a second-half guy that could win people leagues if he takes over that job. I've already told you I like their offense, what they can do in Baltimore. I think Kenneth Dixon is the long play. But he's the rising star based on how I think things are going to shake out there. He can be a three-down back. He was a touchdown monster in college. I believe he had 87 touchdowns over 4 years, which is
that's pretty
87 more than I had in college. So really impressive running back. I think, Terrance West, stopgap. Justin Forsett, stopgap. Buck Allen will be involved for years to come in that pass-catching role. But I think Dixon showed us some stuff before he got hurt in the preseason. So I'm rising on him personally. And maybe I'm crazy, but I am.
The latest thing I find is still that Forsett intends to re-sign. So like we said, it seems like it's inevitable. And I'm with Andy. That was my takeaway once the news was, okay, we're going to bring Forsett back, was my eyes are on Kenneth Dixon. If you got the IR slot in your draft, take him late, stash him. He's not a guy that I'm willing to clog an active bench spot. Let's say you only have five bench spots. I'm not going to put him on there, but he's the guy that when I'm watching the injury reports and they say, okay, well, Dixon's maybe 2 weeks away, then I will grab him. I'm not gonna hold him this entire time, but I'm gonna pay attention to when he's actually gonna be back.
Yeah, but throw him on your IR if you got it. So that's Virgil Green, Kenneth Dixon, and Jeremy Langford. Those were this week's Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week. Remember,
Delicious.
Game day and draft day, for that matter, tastes better with Raising Cane's tailgates, full of fresh 24-hour marinated hand-battered chicken fingers and fresh brewed sweet tea, which is genuinely my favorite. So visit RaisingCanes.com to find your nearest location.
And always get 1 or 2 extra sauces.
That is the hot tip. That is the hot tip. We're going to take a couple minutes, answer some mailbag questions before the end of the show today. Mike, you all ready?
Whew. Yeah.
Mailbag.
All right, if you have a question for the mailbag, you can go ahead and dial our voicemail hotline, 302-464-TFFB, or head over to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Click the Submit a Question button in the upper right-hand corner. Send your question into the show. We are here to help you win your league. That is it. That's the only reason we exist.
Well, and
to have
entertain you.
Help have fun in the process.
We're here for a lot of different things.
Dylan in Philadelphia. I just had my half point per reception draft this weekend. Is it worth dropping someone like Paul Perkins to pick up any handcuff for either LeSean McCoy or Thomas Rawls? So would you drop Paul Perkins? Yeah, I would. To pick up either
basically Kristen Michael
or Reggie Bush or Kristen Michael?
I'd pick up Michael.
Mike Gillislee.
Yeah, I'm not picking up any.
I'd pick
any
up
of the
Michael.
Bills.
I'd pick up Michael if I had Rawls.
I can speak to this personally from this last week, and I have Thomas Rawls in our startup dynasty, and I made a trade for Kristen Michael. Yes, I was the one who said I expect 15 touches to Thomas Rawls and 7 to Michael. But the thing is since we don't know for sure, we haven't seen it in the preseason, and Kristen Michael did play good. It's safe.
Well, he played well.
He played well. Forgive me, America. It's really good to have the handcuffs that could make that impact week 1. Usually I don't have handcuffs at this time of the year, except those guys that could make that surprising week 1 contribution. But then you also have the reality that if Thomas Rawls went out and got injured, well, then I totally believe in C-Mike. So I would definitely rather have C-Mike than Paul Perkins.
Peter in Tokyo, Japan.
What? Bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour, Peter.
I have Blake Bortles, Carson Palmer, and Derek Carr on my team. I picked up Derek Carr for just for week 1. Our 3 quarterbacks too many. Who should I drop? And Duke Johnson, DeAndre Washington, and Jerick McKinnon are on the free agent market.
Personally, I'm fine rolling one quarterback. The problem here is I think Bortles and Palmer, you probably don't want to drop either of those guys. So I would hold on.
I just play Palmer week 1 and drop Derek Carr.
Exactly. So of those 3, Duke Johnson, DeAndre Washington, basically, those 2, I assume you're picking up Duke Johnson?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. He has a locked-in role.
Even I would pick up Duke right there.
Even you. Scott in Washington says, I have Charles in both West and Ware are available in my league. Who should I grab off the wire before it's too late?
Scott, what are you doing?
It's got to
get Ware.
Yeah. Well, I've seen this question so much because, people that are just coming into fantasy now and they haven't really seen what's happened this offseason. They look back at last year, and Charizard West was the guy, to have for a big portion. So this is like another one of those PSAs to everybody, all the Jamaal Charles owners out there. It is Ware who you want to have, not Charles.
Ware is somebody that I'd love to start week 1. I mean, he's got a good matchup against
the
San Diego.
Ugh.
Love it. Jason D. in Turner, Oregon says, I have Matt Ryan and my opponent has Julio Jones. Should I be playing the quarterback that is throwing to my opponent's star, or should I play Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Well, usually I would say it's mostly okay. For a guy like Matt Ryan, who Julio is his, a huge percentage of targets are going to Julio. I would not like that for week 1. However, I also don't like Fitzpatrick. I believe he's playing against the Bengals.
That is correct.
Week 1. So there are so many good week 1 matchups out there.
I just play Matt Ryan week 1.
I would drop Matt Ryan and see if you could pick up a Stafford, a Carr. Maybe those guys aren't available.
Yep. Yeah.
But, that's what I would do.
Fair enough. That is it for today's mailbag episode. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me, feeling under the weather. Thanks, guys, for holding the show.
I think you did great.
I appreciate it.
You Ripkened through it.
Yeah, I Ripkened right through it.
You know what else is great? I want to thank today's sponsor and make sure everybody knows about Thursday Boot Company. They are handcrafted with the durability of a work boot and the sophistication of a fashion boot. They will quickly become your go-to boot, your go-to shoes for basically everything. Prices start at $149, free shipping and returns. So head over to ThursdayBoots.com/footballers to see a selection of our favorites.
All right, your title defense begins today, Jason. Yeah, we need to make sure he doesn't win again.
It's not happening.
Oh,
all right.
It's happening.
Hey, if you need a trophy like we do, head over to Fantasy Jocks. Use the code Footballers. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.